Energize You Q&A with Ray and Shane. Today I get to be the interviewer today. Obviously, last week we spoke a little bit more about in the gym. So this time we've had some questions about supplementation and the benefits of supplementation, what supplements to take and why to take them. And I by far raised the far superior knowledge in this part. So we're going to start with a big question we had is about fish oils and omega-3. Big ones. It's massive. You know, I've taken it on and off over the years. There's talks for. So talk to me about fish oils, omega-3 and why.
Good. Okay. Look, I think the first thing I want to say is a disclaimer. I'm not a nutritionist per se, but throughout all my studies of Oriental medicine, right back in the 1980s, we studied food as energy. And so it does come from a different perspective to the macro and micronutrients of food. So I will address a lot of these things because I do so much research on this myself, for both myself and the clients I'm treating, and just making, so these are broad spectrum general recommendations for you. And this idea of fish oil comes up all the time. So you need fish oils. Well, the interesting factor is that where do fish get their omega-3 from? And the omega-3s actually come from the sea vegetables that they're consuming. So those little crustaceans might consume algae or various forms of sea vegetables, and then what happens is bigger fish eat them, and so you end up with fish containing omega-3. Now, why don't we just go back to the source of it and get it straight from our sea vegetables, our seaweed? So that's actually one of the best sources for it. And of course, the other great sources you can have are things like flaxseed and flaxseed oil. And then if you just have like half a cupful of walnuts, you've got plenty of omega-3 in that. Now, the interesting thing, omega-3 and then omega-6, and omega-6 are the oils that you'll get, your highly refined vegetable oils, etc. And a lot of the oils that are used in processed foods, they actually counter the effects of, you could call it omega-3. So if you like, you should be having like 4 times omega-3 to 1 time omega-6. And of course, if you avoid all the refined oils, etc., you don't have that problem. Yeah,
you don't have that.
Absolutely.
So awesome, because I get asked a lot. I'm by far not an expert in this. I'll be very honest to say, look, I know what I know, and it's really interesting because it's an impact of marketing in health and wellness. You know, and the impact of marketing, and guys, look, I was told to take thermogenic bloody pre-workouts 7 years ago when I was doing my fight training with you, Ray, back in the day, and I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
You know, I was like having bloody legalised speed. I'd have it at 5 o'clock at night, spar, which is pretty full on, and then get home and be staring at the wall at 11 o'clock at night. It's unbelievable. Guys, do not believe what you see in an Instagram ad or a thing. Go to a professional, go to an expert, go to someone that's studied it for 35 or 30, 40 years. So another thing...
Well, just to add on that, in Australia the statistics show that this industry of supplementation, etc., is worth $4.9 billion, right? And just in the last 5 years, that's increased by $2 billion. So it went from 2.9 to 4.9 in the last 5 years. And this is a flood in the market. And as you say, it's all the branding, the marketing. Now, like 65% of the supplements you buy from pharmacy. 27% you buy from your supermarkets, and the other 8% you buy from like your local Wholefoods supplier or professional practitioner. So it's only a small percentage, and I'm going to say really that it's that small percentage of people you buy from the whole food shops, the practitioners, is where you're going to get better quality stuff.
Yeah, and I would also say another thing too. I think most people that get on the supplement train want the quick fix. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like from my end, as being a PT for 11 years, it's a long time. And look, we have products here that we provide at the gym. Like all our products are organic, gluten-free and dairy-free, so I think they're better compared to some of the bigger brands out in the market. But the reality is there's nothing that will replace a really good, clean diet and exercising 2 to 4 times a week, whether it's vigorous or yin or yang. There's nothing like supplements help you, but they're not the answer.
Exactly.
And I think
the big dilemma these days is look, I'm a man in my 60s. When I was a child in the 50s and 60s, if we had a cupful of broccoli, that nutritional value would have to be a whole bowl full of broccoli these days, because our soil has been denuded so much that the quality of the products we grow these days is just not good enough anymore. And which is why you really need to be, as much as possible, eating organically, eating fresh or plant-based diet to get the best quality. Now, even then, our nutritional quality is still not the best. So this is why I recommend really supplementation for everyone. It's a matter of choosing what is the supplement's going to affect you the most. You know, we do these neutral organic products, and we do these new firm products. They're all organic products. Now, I recommend probiotic foods so that actually activate the gut. And I'm going to just talk to you about some different books. My favourite books are on food and all this. One of them is called Laughter, Sex, Vegetables and Fish. By Dr.
Guys, what we'll do too is we'll take a photo of all these and put them in the comments too.
Yeah, we've got references on there already.
We're organised. I'm not organisation, I just walk in and do my things.
So this guy talks about laughter, sex, vegetables and fish. Have them as much as you want, everything else in moderation. So it's that whole idea of moderation is great. Chisholm wrote a book, Have You Got the Guts to Be Really Healthy? So he's the one who produces all these probiotics and other nutritional products that I recommend as well. So this is really looking at your gut health is the most important thing for you. Get your gut right, you'll be able to absorb all the nutrients you take in. So it's not we are what we eat, it's we are what we absorb. So this is the one that I've recently looked at, Fruits and Vegetables as Medicine by Dr. Sandi. Now this has got loads of home remedies that you can use when you're not feeling so well. So things to prevent particular issues or symptoms you might have, but also things to resolve them. All the stuff that you can get in your own home kitchen. It's great. One I did a review on just last week, Feed Your Brain by Delia and McCabe. So our brain functioning is so important these days in our digital world that we want to keep this optimum. If you're losing concentration now, what's happening there? You've got to feed your brain with the right types of food, and it talks about different types and related to you. And then look, my favourite, this has been my Bible since the 80s. Doesn't even have a website on it. Healing with Wholefoods, Oriental Traditional and Modern Nutrition by Pitchard. So this to me really goes through food energetics. But if you like to just think of food go local to what you're eating, your local environment. Indeed, but what's grown locally in this environment. Yeah. So we live in a moderate environment as opposed to a cold temperature environment, so eat moderate foods that are being grown here. In wintertime, eat warming foods. In summertime, eat cooling or the colder foods. Yeah. So I'm going to pose it to you now. We're here winter in Australia. Frankly, it's not terribly cold, unless it depends on what part you are. We're on the sunny Gold Coast. But if you're outside and it was 0 degrees, you're all rubbed up, and I gave you an offer. Do you want this cold ice cream or this cup of warm soup? So which one's going to be your first appeal? You're going to go for that warmth, nourishing, not that cold, because that's going to damage you. Just put the same thing in your food sources as well. Yeah. And then, of course, the other main nutrition that supplement you need is good quality water. And we do want to be going more towards alkaline waters, different types of water products that help. The main thing for me in my research and what's happening these days is that big companies are now going towards environmentally controlled production of their organic products that they're then producing into supplements. Okay. Because you might have an organic farm and then 2 farms down the road is a GM production farm. Yeah. And so we just know, that's how seeds and everything spreads through the wind. So it's still going to have some potential for contamination. So some of the major companies around, a company called Newskin, they do this pharmacological type environmental stuff. I actually work with a farmer in New South Wales and they're producing food soil inoculants that we're taking into China. So it's all going this way that everything is grown in environmental controls to be truly organic.
Not be contaminated.
Not be contaminated.
Cool. That's wow.
Check out with a health provider, check out the supplement that's going to suit you, whether it's a bone broth, whether it's protein, whether it's barley grass.
Cool. Well, while we're here, mate, it's really good. Usually we get shoved, we've got a bit of time today. I actually want to ask you some questions about all this sort of stuff, you know what I mean? Because, like I said before, guys, what I really meant by the people that take the supplements, take the quick fix, is they aren't they don't use the right supplements, and they don't get the right supplements off the right people. You know, like, and that's a big thing. Like you see an Instagram ad about a fat burner or whatever, you know, and that's pure marketing. You're not actually going to people that are talking about from a health perspective. They're talking about from an aesthetic perspective, and that's fine. But generally, if something goes right down the shred, burn, like for example, my example I used before about the thermogenics and that, it's generally not health based. You know what I mean? And so we've got some products here that we supply some of our clients. And I want to ask you a couple of tips, because obviously a lot of our clients, and there's people all around the world obviously watching this right now. So bone broth, you know, like tell me about bone. This is a chicken organic free range bone broth from Mutual Organics. Tell me about bone broth benefits.
Yeah.
You know.
I love this question because look, I'm first generation Australian. My parents are Italian, so I was brought up in an Italian family. We had chicken soup, you know, weekly, and this was, you know, proper bone broth. So to make a bone broth with like chicken bones is to, you know, crack the bones, and it's really a simmer time for 6 or 8 hours, and that's leaching out all that mineral out of the bone marrow. That's the idea. And you know, if you have any problems, in particular with your joints, collagen, etc., in the joints, bone broths are great. But bone broth, in terms of Oriental medicine, is very yin, strengthening of the yin organs of the body. So, and these are the primarily functional organs. We have solid organs and we have hollow organs. Like your liver is a solid organ, a yin organ. So bone broth actually sort of nurtures these organs and keeps them as healthy as possible. So yeah, bone broth is a good one. Now, not everyone wants to eat animal food. So like this range, they actually do a vegan bone broth, or not a bone broth, but a collagen protein. So you can get collagen out of plant life as well, which is also good for the joints.
Cool.
Yep. So in fact, my first 10 years when I studied Oriental medicine, I was completely vegan. I was qualified in what we call macrobiotics and macrobiotic medicine, and that's where we did a lot of food, energy, health. I didn't eat any animal food at all.
10 years?
Yeah, 10 years. And it was in my prime athletic time. I was racing bicycles, I was, you know, doing long distance running, I was working in a gym, I was, you know, fit as, and I was all relying on a vegan diet. Yeah.
Wow. So we've got another product here. So we've got a Super Greens and Reds with matcha and kale whole food multivitamin.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about that.
Well, the super greens are coming into the process of it's your barley grass, it's your spirulina. It's more like, you know, wheatgrass, things like that. They tend to be the super greens. Now, what happens is called superfoods. In other words, you can just survive on these foods alone. If that's all you had, it would provide all your daily requirements. Of course, that would be pretty boring. But anything that is green is going to really supplement and help the processing of the body. The green vegetables tend to help with the liver function. And liver is, you know, like 500 different processes it does every time you put something in your mouth. It's got to relate to that. And then your kidney involved, cortisol production, your spleen, pancreas, the insulin production. All these things will benefit by those super greens in particular. Even your lung function benefits by super greens. And then the reds are bringing in lots of the essential vitamins and supplements that you actually need, because they're primarily the red and the black berries that you're having in your diet. And of course, you know, these days, it's so popular, it's full of antioxidants. And come back to like the water, you want antioxidant-rich water. And that's your alkaline type water as well.
Come back to alkaline water.
So these are the type of things that, everyone can benefit by supplementation. Look, I take the barley grass myself, I take magnesium myself, I take some of the new skin products myself for the epigenic of it. I take a probiotic. Because I had a history. I was in Africa in the 80s, I had malaria, I had bugs in my bowel, it really screwed up my whole digestive tract. For a couple of years, you know, I needed to know where the toilet was whenever I went out. And so those sorts of problems, I had to go to the Tropical Diseases Hospital in London, and so I had to be really careful. And that's actually why I got into the much cleaner diet, became vegan, etc.
Really?
To heal myself. And made a big difference to it. So you just got to see what product suits you, because it's not like, here, take this aspirin for your headache. your headache might have 10 different reasons, and
there's
there's
10
different
products.
remedies for it.
Cool. The last I'm going to talk about is hemp protein.
Yeah.
You know, like vegan is all the rage these days. You know, like it's just a lot more common, and you know, it's out there. So talk to us about hemp protein. It's got vegan collagen glow.
So once again, we're looking at the collagen, which is great for the joints and the connective tissue of the body,
fascia,
and the fascia. But the hemp in itself is great for the amino acids of the body. You can get prebiotic, probiotic, and it's a plant-based protein. So it's going to be, you know, in my term, as I say, look, I still eat fish and I eat chicken. Preferably, you know, organic of that stuff where I can get it. I don't eat any four-legged animals. I don't eat mammals because it's just, for me, the energy of eating a cow or slow, those old humping around the leg, as opposed to eating a salmon, for instance, swimming upstream. Got that power.
It's so true.
Stamina, it is awesome. So for me, I prefer the salmon. However, you know, caveat on that, Australia has one of the highest prolific use of antibiotics and hormones when it's farming salmon.
Wow.
So you want to get wild salmon.
And you're going to catch it.
That's right. So, you know, look to it, just don't think, oh yeah, salmon's good for you, fish is good for you. Look to where its source is.
Cool. So I think we'll wrap it up at that. Gee, I've learned a lot today. The bits and pieces I've read over the years, but you know, guys, this man is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to this sort of stuff. You know, like as I said, it's really interesting because we're both very different personalities. We have different skill sets, and we can both add a lot of value. But Ray, mate, that's really cool. I've learned a lot today, guys. Once again, we need questions. You know what I mean? Like we've been asking members of our gym. Ray's clients have been providing some good ones, so we'll be sharing this in the Beyond VIP group. If there's anything you guys want added, guys, and let me tell you right now, nutritions, if you really want to learn the fundamentals and not how to do a macro-based plan, which is important, you know what I mean, then Ray is definitely the man to talk to. We're going to wrap it up with that. Ray, awesome show, and look forward to doing it next week.
Thanks. See you soon.